What's up, guys? It's Andrew Stephens, PGA Professional here at the Stephens Golf Academy in Burlington, Kentucky. And today's video is for everybody that has a hard time squaring the club face at impact. So if you have a hard time squaring the face at impact, you might want to stay tuned for this. So I'm going to give you one simple concept here that's going to completely change how you control this club face through impact. And that's going to be the use of the right arm, right shoulder, and right elbow, and then how to kind of check how you're using it by checking the alignments of your right elbow and left elbow. So if we think about trendy topics in golf instruction today, one of the most common is shallowing the shaft. So shallowing the shaft is this holy grail of the golf swing, right? So we get it to the top here, we come on down, we've got the shaft super duper shallow here, we've got this left wrist nice and bowed like this, and then all we have to do is just turn through it and hit a nice beautiful golf shot. Sounds great. Some of the best players in the world can do it. Most of us really can't do it. Why can't we do that? Well, for one, it takes incredible rotational speed to be able to put that golf shaft like a Dustin Johnson and be able to rotate through here and not hook the living daylights out of it. Most of us can't do it. You know, we work 40 hours a week, we've got jobs, we've got kids, we've got beer bellies. It's not happening. So let me give you some hints here on how we can make this happen. And I don't care what position you're in at the top of your backswing. This is going to work for you no matter what. So if I'm at the top of the backswing here, okay, the typical slicer or player that has a hard time squaring or closing the club face from the top is going to exert a little bit of a push with the right arm and the right shoulder. The right arm and the right shoulder becomes a little dominant and we push the club this way. So when I push with the right hand, what happens to that shaft? Well, it gets steep and it's starting to look like I'm going to come over the top of it. What happens to my left wrist when I push with the right hand and the right shoulder? That left wrist all of a sudden is getting a little cupped. And when that left wrist gets extended like that, we know that club face is going to come down and have a hard time squaring up. So how do we combat that? Well, if you look at great ball strikers on the PGA Tour, and we can take a lot of examples. We can think of, just go up the world rankings. Let's think Dustin Johnson. Let's think Jordan Spieth. Let's think Justin Thomas, okay? Those are three great ball strikers in three very different positions at the top of the swing, but every single one of those guys has a couple of things in common coming down. So, from the top of the swing, what you're going to see with those guys is they're going to have a relatively passive right arm, right shoulder. Their left hand is going to control where that golf club is going. The right hand is going to sit underneath more for guidance and support than as an active participant in the downswing. So as those guys get down here, here is your checkpoint, folks. Here is the $1 million position right here, halfway down. Check out my elbows. My left elbow, my front or my lead elbow, is above my trail elbow. If we look at all three of those swings that I just mentioned, in that position, you're going to see the lead elbow above the trail elbow. If I can get to this position here while maintaining a good pivot, that golf club's going to be in a pretty good position. Even if I'm a little bit vertical here, so if I'm vertical like this, but my elbows are good, I'm okay. If I'm super duper laid down like a Dustin Johnson here, I'm okay. So the shallowness and the steepness is not necessarily the indicator of the club face. It's the way that this right arm works and the way that the elbows are lined up. So just to give you kind of a practical application of this, so think of a current PGA Tour player who has won a lot of golf tournaments and millions of dollars, but is a kind of a wild driver of the golf ball. Okay, got it yet? Well, if you didn't think of Phil Mickelson, I'm going to go ahead and use this. And I love Phil Mickelson. He's one of my absolute favorite players to watch. I'm not picking on him. I'm just pointing out something in his golf swing. So, Phil Mickelson, if we watch him from the top, you're going to see Phil is actually going to get this lead elbow above and almost pushing with that lead elbow above his front elbow. And when he does that, you're going to see his club face open a little bit, and you're going to see that club get very steep right here. Now, what we know about Phil Mickelson is as he comes down, we're used to a very dramatic closing of the club face to try to save it, right? Now, Phil Mickelson, top 5 set of hands that's ever played the game of golf. Guy's won 42 times on the PGA Tour. He can get away with that position, guys. You and I can't. We're just not that good. If I was that good, I wouldn't be making this YouTube video. I'd be out there winning 45 times on the PGA Tour. So, Phil, what do we know about his miss? When that club is vertical and this wrist is cupped and this elbow rides high, it gets really, really hard to square that club face, especially at high speeds. And we know Phil's miss with the driver especially is high and off to the left. So if you want to be able to square that face easier, throw away the advice that you heard from a buddy on the driving range or your local golf pro or whatever that said, oh, well, you're coming over the top, so you just need to swing out to the right and close the face. You just got to close the face more. If all you have to do is close the face, this would be an easy daggone game, wouldn't it? So you can't close the face when you're pushing the club with the right arm and you're opening that face coming down and that club is right here. I don't care what you do, that face is not going to shut. So when you're working on your golf swing, I want you to feel like as you're sort of making this left shoulder work down and opening up this way, I want you to feel like your right elbow stays bent. And I want you to feel almost like you're a sidearm pitcher here. So I'm going to take my right elbow, I'm going to keep it bent. It's going to stay underneath my left arm there so that I can imagine if I had my left hand out right here, as I came down, I want to keep my right elbow bent to where I can give myself a high five right there and barely letting that arm straight at impact. What most of y'all do is you get here, the elbow goes out, it straightens, it pushes, and I'm nowhere near where I want to be right here. So let's focus on that little position, that little tip right here. Start out with some real easy swings. Just feel that right elbow bent and underneath and rotating. Doesn't matter what position you're in at the top. If you can get that elbow there, I'm telling you, it's going to be so much easier for you guys to square the club face. So I appreciate you all watching. My name is Andrew Stephens. Give us the like on the video. Please subscribe to our channel. We're going to have a lot more content coming at you in 2018. So hope you all have a good day and square that face up.